What's up guys, Shawnthebro here, and we're back for another episode of the fighting game tutorial series, and in today's episode we are going to be going over Rollback Netcode Part 5. Recently in the series we've been greatly improving our game so that we can prepare for these major systems such as Rollback Netcode. And Rollback Netcode is one that we've been working on for a little bit now. We've been making sure all of our systems are going to work with it, cleaning them up so they're efficient enough for it, and we've been planning that whole thing out. So recently in the Rollback Netcode itself, what we did was create the ability to store our character snapshots. These character snapshots are essentially what the character is doing, tracking things like their health, their attack state, their super meter, and other parameters about them are going to be useful to know. We didn't really pass that data from the character to the rollback subsystem yet, but we have all the fields in place that we're going to need for the moment. However, rollback needs more than this. First of all, it needs to know about every character that is going to be simulated. We've only set it out to support one character right now. One character is the tracked character, but each character needs to be tracked. It's a little bit more complex than this even, because it's not just two characters necessarily. We support tag mode in our game. We may have 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, or more if you have a tag mode with more characters than that. There's also other actors that are going to need to be tracked, such as projectiles, hitboxes, maybe things in the stage as well. So there's a lot to track, and we need to make sure that we get this right. So today's episode is going to be focusing on making sure we can track multiple characters and really all of our characters that we intend to support. We'll also remove some of our temporary logic that was just there for proof of concept and make it more final for actually storing the snapshots or the frames from these characters. If you want to get caught up in the entire fighting game tutorial series and see how we've done things like our different attacks, our projectiles, our game modes, our character select, and a whole lot more, I'll link you to the entire fighting game tutorial series playlist right here in the top right corner. Alternatively, if you only care about Rollback Netcode and getting Rollback Netcode to work in Unreal Engine, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to follow along with the whole series to follow along with the Rollback Netcode episodes. I do recommend that you watch at least the other Rollback Netcode episodes though, as we are going to be following on top of that, building on top of that, and working with many episodes to get our Rollback Netcode functional in our game. I'll link the first episode of Rollback Netcode in the fighting game tutorial series right here in the top right corner. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now this is a code and blueprint tutorial series. Since we're working with Rollback Netcode, it's pretty much all going to be in C++, and that's where we'll be focusing for today. Let's go into the code of our project, and I want to go to my rollback simulation subsystem.cpp and rollback simulation subsystem.h. In rollback simulation subsystem.h, we have this structure f character snapshot. We set this up a few episodes ago, and this is what I mentioned in the intro about storing all the data about the character that we may need to know to rollback. So anything that could affect the character's state or the determinism of the game, we need to track. So this could be position, health, the state of the character, if they're stunned, and a whole lot more. So this is our structure. We have constructors for the struct, all of our variables here. Then in the class itself for the rollback simulation subsystem, we have a variable of this called current character snapshot. And that's going to store all the frame data for this character for the current frame. And that snapshot is being stored in something we called rollback frame buffer, which is the circular buffer of all the frames that we can roll back to. We construct it here. It is a T-circular buffer of F character snapshot. To this point in the rollback episodes, this has been enough. However, as we're getting more involved in the rollback system, we realize that to properly perform rollback, we need to track all the actors, all the objects that could change the determinism of the game. So it's not just the characters, it could be the projectiles and things like that, as I mentioned, but at the very least, we need to make sure that we're tracking all of our characters, not just one character. At this point, we have a few options for what we can do here to remedy this. We could simply make current character snapshot something like current character snapshots and make this variable a T array of F character snapshot. That way we can store more than one character snapshot per frame in this array, one for each character in this array per frame. And then in our rollback frame buffer, we could also make a T array of F character snapshot in here, just like that. And here too, when we're actually defining it. And this is a viable solution, as we could have multiple characters in that array, and each element in the circular buffer just stores that array. But I'd really like to take this a step further and plan ahead, as it's not just the states of the characters that we'll need. We'll also need the states of those other actors like I was telling you about. such as our projectiles, but we may even need more info than that. Like in the T-circular buffer here, we may want to have the array of all the character snapshots, the array of the other object snapshots, the frame number that these data points were pulled from, if it's a safe frame to roll back to, and a lot more. So instead of just making this a T array of F character snapshot, I want to go up to my top, up to my structures again, and I'm going to make a new structure. So we have F character snapshot here. I'm going to go below that one, make another ustruct. Then we say struct F, that's the prefix for structs in Unreal, rollback frame data. Then inside of the structure, we can call generated body, just like we do for all of our classes and structures, like that. You'll see that we do it here as well. Rollback frame data is going to have everything that we need for our T circular buffer here. We did call it rollback frame buffer. It's intended to be the buffer that holds all the frame data. Just before this point, all we were storing was the character snapshot. So now let's change the T array F character snapshot to F rollback frame data. And change it here as well, where we're actually defining how many elements are in the structure. There we go. So T circular buffer, F rollback frame data, rollback frame buffer equals T circular buffer, F rollback frame data, max rollback frames. Now we may not need a current F rollback frame data at this point because we're going to store everything in a structure that we store in the circular buffer. But if we want to be consistent, we can go ahead and just make this an F rollback frame data for now. And instead of saying current character snapshots, we'll say current rollback frame data. Let's scroll back up to our structure. Now what we want to do is make our variables that need to be in here. So don't worry, we're not losing F character snapshot. We're going to make it in here. The container of all character data required for rollback, or the container of all characters data required for rollback. And we can say T array of F character snapshot in here, so that we're storing all that. We'll just call this character snapshots. And for now, this is all this needs to hold, but again, there's a lot more that we could hold in here if we want to, and we definitely will in the future. What we must do now is make sure the rest of our system works with this. So if we go back to rollback simulation subsystem.cpp, current character snapshot is no longer a variable. That is what we changed to current rollback frame data. Current rollback frame data doesn't have a default constructor. It just has this array of character snapshots. This is okay because this T array should initialize this structure safely using the default constructor here. But we could reserve the amount of elements in here if we know the amount. Like for example, if we're only going to have 2 characters ever, we could do character snapshots.reserve 2. So we'll leave this out for now. It's possible we'll need to come back to that, but we can simply remove this line here where we're setting current character snapshot to the basic F character snapshot constructor. That part's taken care of, and now we can scroll down to our store snapshot and retrieve snapshot. In store snapshot, what we were doing was setting the rollback frame buffer at the frame passed into store snapshot. This is determined in fixed tick what the current frame is, and we were setting that data equal to the current character snapshot data. This is following the same theme as before. We don't want to just have the one character snapshot anymore. We need to associate it with the character snapshot for the character that we're trying to store in the rollback frame buffer. This gets a little bit more advanced than this basic behavior, but for now we can simply say current rollback frame data. And that will do the trick because this is a T-circular buffer of this type. So for retrieve snapshot, we're going to do the same thing. Current rollback frame data equals rollback frame buffer at frame. Now that means that this current rollback frame data stores as many character snapshots as we want. So the next thing to do is get the snapshot data from each character. But to do that properly, we need to know what character is in what spot in this array or this container. And so we have another section here where we could have some branching paths. We could either put an integer inside of our F character snapshot, something like int character ID or int unique character ID. That way we can properly associate this character snapshot with the character that provided this data. Alternatively, we could turn this T array into a T map of an integer and an F character snapshot. So the integer could be the ID or the unique ID of the character, and then fCharacterSnapshot has the data. Either option will work. They both have a few benefits and a few drawbacks. I think let's stick with the T array of the fCharacterSnapshot for now. And we will go to our fCharacterSnapshot here, go up to the top here, make this an int, and we'll call this character ID. Then if we go to our constructors for fCharacterSnapshot, we can add these here at the top above position, character ID. And we can start these at something like 0. We need to make sure that these are unique or coming from some data that we have, whether the character itself has an ID, we create a hash value that represents the ID, or we use an Unreal ID that's unique to this character. That way we can properly reference and associate it with the character. Let's do this for the overloaded constructor as well. Character ID. For this one, for the overloaded constructor, we pass in all the arguments. In the default constructor, we don't, so assigning this to 0 is fine. What we should do in this one is make sure that we pass in an integer underscore character ID, and then character ID here, the variable in the structure, should be set to underscore character ID. Also, it's a small detail, but in fCharacterSnapshot position here, we should make this a const fvector reference underscore position, as this indicates that it's not going to change, and we're going to use the same memory for this fvector instead of making a copy, which is more efficient. Fvector is a big type, so this is beneficial to us. We've gone over this a bit in the past, but we just didn't set it up that way in the overloaded constructor, and we definitely should. Since I updated this too, I'm going to clean up this little section and just bring this jump count onto the next line. So our overloaded constructor now looks like that. And now our fCharacterSnapshots have character IDs, and that means that we can properly associate these character snapshots with the associated character, and that will allow us to bring in the data from the characters into the snapshots, which is what we're going to do for the next episode. A quick little thing here I want to do as well. I just want to clean up this section. This should create subsystem here. We've been doing a lot of single line statements here where we don't need these curly braces. And I'm going to do that here just to stay consistent. So we have one line, if uWorld pointer world equals cast uWorld outer, then return world is game world. Else, we can return false. To make this even better, however, if we don't return here, we go into the else and return false, but we don't even need this else, because if we don't go into this if statement, we won't be returning out of the function, which means we'll automatically be hitting this line here. So we can get rid of this else and put return false here. So either if the world is valid, then we can return this result. Otherwise, we just default to returning false. Relaunch your editor, make sure everything's working. Funnily enough, I put semicolons here on generated body, which generated body doesn't need it. But I had placed it here in these structs as well. And the one in the class actually caused an error because of that. So we can get rid of that and build again. The editor is back open. We can launch our game. And we should be able to load everything up. And it should work. And you'll see that it is. So now we can successfully store our character snapshots in our array when we're ready to. Again, that's for the next episode. Once we store all the character snapshot data, we also need to store the other actor data, like our projectiles. And that's where we will be going. So if you guys enjoyed this episode and it helped you learn about Rollback Netcode, how to architect it, how to set it up, how to make it work in Unreal Engine and C++, then please subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot, and it lets me know that you guys are interested in this content and that I should make more of it. I want to give a huge shout out to all the YouTube membership, Patreon members, and Discord supporters. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for all the love and support. I am so appreciative of you. If you ran into any problems following this tutorial or any of my tutorials, feel free to join the Discord community. There is a link in the description, and I would be happy to help you out. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Shawnthebro, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.